Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Singapore Global Money Week 2025, the first ever Global Money Week event in Singapore, hosted by NTU's Investment Interactive Club, one of Singapore's leading student-run investment clubs dedicated to equipping young minds with essential financial literacy and investing knowledge.
We are truly honored to bring this prestigious and award-winning global initiative to life right here today. As we gear up for an exciting event, we invite you to complete your registration and also be sure to enter our lucky draw for a chance to win amazing prizes at the closing ceremony later. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Erin.
And my name is Yuhang, and we are delighted to be your host for tonight. This event is part of Global Money Week, a global campaign dedicated to raising financial awareness, instilling financial responsibility, and empowering young people with essential financial literacy skills. This initiative originated in Paris and was organized by the OECD, International Network on Financial Education. It has made a tremendous impact, reaching over 60 million young people across 176 countries since its inception in 2012.
And today, NTU Investment Interactive Club is extremely proud to be the first academic club in Singapore to bring this initiative to life. Our mission is to make financial learning fun, interactive, engaging, aligning with the global slogan of Learn, Save, and Earn, to ensure that young people develop smart money and investment habits in an interesting and meaningful way.
Our theme for this year, Think Before You Follow, Wise Money Tomorrow, serves as a timely reminder for all of us to make informed and thoughtful financial decisions for a brighter, more secure future.
Tonight, we have a fantastic lineup in store for you, including a compelling session on building a solid foundation for financial well-being, an engaging financial colloquium featuring industry experts sharing practical investment strategies, and of course, a grand closing ceremony to celebrate our journey. Without further ado, let's get started. To kick off this incredible event, we would like to invite our esteemed student advisor, Kevin Yoke, to share a few words. Please give him a big round of applause.
Good evening, everyone. It's a huge crowd today. This afternoon, we just ended the exhibition booth with 2,000 participants, and I believe most of you all were part of the exhibition booth. We had 24 exhibition booths earlier, and I'm just so excited to see each and every one of you right here at this financial colloquium at this grand closing ceremony. So I'm Kevin, the student advisor of NTU Investment Interactive Club. My journey with the club has reached its 4th year, and I'm just so proud to see how the club grew all the way from we were escaping from the circuit breaker and up until now, when the club is expanding its efforts in our key financial events. So I would like to stress here that while financial literacy is something that we promote very much here in Singapore Global Money Week, but it doesn't just stop here, because in NTU Investment Interactive Club, we believe that financial literacy has to start as young as possible, and it has to be a habit that you pick up, and that is why we, as a leading academic investment club here in NTU, we conduct weekly lessons, beginner-friendly lessons such as our Invest Academy, as well as our Advanced Nanyang Student Investment Fund NSIF lessons, to equip our club members with fundamental and technical analysis and all the skills that they need to prepare themselves future-ready for their career. And also we run lessons all throughout the year, often featuring industry leaders, and we organize company visits and networking events with private equity and hedge fund firms to ensure that we give the best opportunities for our club members. But our effort don't just stop here, because on an annual basis we organize 5 key financial events annually that are done. These are our flagship events. Over the past month, we have done our Eurasia Asset Management Challenge, which the grand finale was held right here in NTU Gaia, not this building, but the business school building. And the week after that, we had our Singapore Financial Conference at One Marina Boulevard, attracting over 420 participants. And earlier this month, we had our Alternative Investment Symposium at Singapore Exchange Auditorium, which saw a full house, over 200 delegates. And just last Saturday, we had our National Cash Flow Competition right here in Gaia as well, that benefited more than 520 youths. And as part of our social responsibility efforts, we reach out to the secondary and tertiary schools all around in Singapore. We go to as many schools as possible to educate, empowering students with financial literacy knowledge, because here in NTU IIC, we believe that financial literacy has to start as young, as early as possible. With carefully curated workshops and our in-house built cash flow game to supplement their learning, it is crucial to instill the right mindset and train the young ones to make smart financial decisions. Here in NTU IIC, our vision is towards a knowledgeable student investing population. 26 years ago, the Singapore government called for initiatives to develop a vibrant investing community, and NTU IIC was founded on that cause. We are so proud to have all of our sponsors, our key partners that have been working with us all throughout these 26 years, and we developed from a vibrant investing community, a small interest group, to the largest finance society here in NTU today. And our mission doesn't just stop here. Financial literacy education is deeply rooted in the DNA of our club, and we will continue to equip our community with insights into the latest emerging trends in finance, which was one of the topics that we discussed over the Singapore Financial Conference, ensuring that we deliver the best for our club members, our NTU community, the community, and beyond. Thank you.
Now, let's dive into the heart of our event, the Financial Colloquium. Our topic for today is Investing Insights for Young Investor in the Digital Age. This session will bring together industry experts to share valuable insights on financial literacy, investment strategies, and responsible money management. This discussion is structured into two parts. Part 1, building a foundation covering essential financial concepts, including financial independence and financial well-being. Part 2, practical investment strategies, featuring a panel discussion where experts will share hands-on approaches to investing.
Before we invite our first distinguished speaker, Hazel, she is the CEO and Chief Trainer of the Joyful Investors, which focuses on financial learning to empower individuals towards financial freedom. Hazel is also a recognized speaker for SGX Academy and SIAS, further establishing her as a trusted voice in the financial education space. The Joyful Investors has been featured in national media and financial platforms, including Money FM 89.3, Her World, iFast TV, and more. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming Hazel.
Thank you. Thank you to the organizing committee from NTU, and good evening to all of you. Now, imagine waking up every morning with the freedom to choose how you spend your day, not because you have to work, but because you want to work. And that's the true essence of financial independence, retire early, right? In short, we call it FIRE. Now, but don't get me wrong, right? I'm not trying to sell you guys a dream over here, right? So I'm going to clear up a very big misconception about FIRE right away. FIRE isn't about just, lounging on the beach all day, never having to work anymore, or, lazing around every day, not doing anything. In fact, FIRE is about gaining the financial autonomy to choose the kind of work, the kind of life that brings you joy and brings you fulfillment in this journey, right? In fact, if you really go and speak to people who have already attained FIRE or financial independence, you will come to realize that many of them, they actually still continue to work, but they work in their own terms. So what do I mean by this? They can choose to start on a passion project, right? I think there's some problem with the slide, so the words are actually being cut off. So the first one is actually a passion project, right? Not just passion. They can choose to actually start on a passion project, start a new business. They can choose to embark on a new career that excites them without being trapped in a paycheck to paycheck cycle. And that's the true end goal of FIRE. In fact, I would say that FIRE is not the end goal. FIRE is simply a means to an end. The end is the financial freedom, the kind of financial fulfillment that you can bring about to your life, right? So I have spoken to one of my friends who works in the healthcare industry before, and he once shared with me many years back that when he attains FIRE, what he wants to do is he wants to still continue on with his physiotherapy work, but maybe on a more part-time basis, so that it frees up more of his time to go and learn another new skill set in life that could be useful, right? My fellow co-founders at the Joyful Investors, they have attained financial independence, but they continue to pursue a couple of different passion projects, one of which includes financial education for retail investors as well. So in this session, I'm going to share with you what this FIRE journey really entails, the kind of challenges that you may face in this journey as well as the kind of mindset and strategies that you need to make it a reality in this journey. Now, so FIRE is built upon these 4 fundamental principles, where firstly, you need to be able to first start earning a regular employment income, okay? Because only when you have a regular employment income, then you can start to save. Now, but you don't only want to save. You want to be able to save consistently, sufficiently as well, so that you have the money to go on to the third step, which is to start investing, to push your money into assets that generate returns instead of just leaving it idle, right? And above the 3 of them, the last one is called living intentionally. That means you want to spend money on what truly matters in life rather than be always chasing after the material possessions, right? So that you can prioritize your financial goals, financial independence. So if you ask me, would there be sacrifice? My honest answer to you is yes, there would be. But again, you have to go and strike the right balance on the level of sacrifice, right, that you take on, so that you don't become so miserable in this journey, right? If not, there is no point in starting on this journey towards financial independence at all already. Now, and let's now talk about one of the biggest enemy in the FIRE journey, and this is called inflation. Okay, for us to prove that inflation has always been around, right? Very simple. Just take a look at your food expenses, because this is what we spend every day, isn't it? Right? So here you see a plate of chicken rice that you buy from the hawker center, right? From your coffee shop. Now, back in the 2000s, where I believe all of you here, you are just born only. One plate of chicken rice, it costs about $2 to 2.50 cents here in Singapore in Sing dollars. But today, if you only have $2 or 2.50, you can no longer buy a plate of chicken rice anymore, okay? You need at least 3.50. And I say at least, because in some places, if you only have 3.50, you also cannot buy a plate of chicken rice, alright? So if you do the math yourself, that is more than 40% increase in price for that plate of chicken rice. And that translates in at least 2% inflation rate year on year. And it's not just only food expenses. If you take a look at healthcare expenses, your education, housing, everyday necessities, the cost of living has only been increasing from here. Now, the good thing is we are here in Singapore. We do have a rather supportive government. Maybe some of you disagree, okay, but that's a separate topic. Now, so in Singapore, right, we have this thing called GST vouchers, right? You have your CDC vouchers. Now, they are here to help us tide through the elevated expenses. But the problem is they only offer temporary solutions. Why? Because they are not going to be here forever, isn't it? Right? So you got to realize then that in this financial journey, we are the only ones who can help ourselves. We are the only ones who can take charge of our financial future. You cannot think about always having to depend on your parents or depend on the government to support you. That's not going to happen. So this is why, right, if your savings are still sitting in the bank savings account, living idle, then your purchasing power, the value of your money and savings is actually eroding day by day and year by year. So that's why we need to invest in assets like stocks, ETFs, REITs, and more that can generate a return that outpaces the inflation rate. So that even while the cost of living is increasing, your wealth can still continue to increase over time because of your investments. So this is how the FIRE journey will look like with a number of milestones in this journey. And what I want to tell you here is that a FIRE journey is not going to happen overnight. It's going to be a rather long journey for most people. Now let's go through them one by one, right? Right at the bottom, the last tier, that's where we have financial dependence. This is where I believe most of us, if not all of us, we start out from here, where we still need to depend on our parents for allowance in order to cover your expenses, to go out with your friends, and so on. Now, but very quickly, the moment we start getting or earning a regular employment income, that's where we move up to financial solvency, because our active income can now pay fully for our living expenses. And when you also set aside an emergency fund of at least 6 months or more, that's where you move up further on the ladder to financial stability and also to financial security when you pay off all of your loans and debt, right? Now, and this is where investment has to come in really. Because when you invest, you will earn what we call a passive income. So when this passive income is able to cover your living expenses, that is where you are able to achieve financial independence. But this is also the step that is the most challenging for the most people. Right, and that's why we try to make it less intimidating. We broke it down, we added in another stage in the middle, half FI, right, where your passive income can kind of cover about 50% of your living expenses. So that when you reach there, you know, okay, I'm somewhere, halfway mark to the final point which I want to reach in my FIRE journey. Now, but let's be realistic. The expenses that we are talking about here, we are talking about what is expected of an average individual. If you are someone who has exceptionally high discretionary spending, or you are someone who likes to constantly shift back your goalposts, and you have the kind of mindset that I will only be happier if I have more and more money, then you will never be contented in this FIRE journey. Because FIRE isn't about just chasing after an endless number. It is about looking for a reasonable target for you to attain, and such that in this journey, right, what you want to achieve is the financial joy, the financial fulfillment, right, which I believe our next speaker, Lawrence, from IFL, he will also be touching on this as well. Now, if you haven't been paying attention to me in the last 8 to 10 minutes, this is where you want to pay full attention, right? Because how can we get there? How can we achieve FIRE? Firstly, you need to be able to have the right mindset, a healthy mindset. So what does that mean? Number one, prioritize your needs over your wants. We talk about this. There will be some sacrifice, but you have to find the right balance yourself. Secondly, which I believe is even more important, is how to increase your income. Now, why do I say that? Because there is a certain limit to how much you can save in this journey. Beyond a certain limit, you cannot save anymore. Why? Can you save on your food expenses? Can you don't eat 3 meals a day? Can you don't take the transport? No, right? So there are some necessities we need to spend. So we cannot save on those. So that's where we want to learn how to then increase our income. Now, to increase our income, there are many ways. First way, you can do through career advancement. Second way, do some side hustle. Or third way, invest. So you improve your financial intelligence to invest, right? And if you ask me, my own personal belief is I believe the third one, which is to improve your financial intelligence and through investing, is the one that can really move the needle. Why? Because we only have 24 hours a day. Minus away 8 hours of sleep, you only have 16 hours to work. But do you want to work 16 hours a day? I'm sure you guys don't want to, right? So once again, there is a limit to how many hours we can work. So that's why we will need to invest so that while you are working, while you are sleeping at night, your investment portfolio is also working hard for you. All right? So that's the idea of that. And finally is delayed gratification. The time, the effort, the money that you plow into the markets at this point in time, they may not yield immediate results for you. But it is something where you need to understand it takes time in this journey for the compounding of your investment portfolio, especially if you start off from a small portfolio. You can't expect it to grow into $1 million immediately overnight, right? Because investing is not about getting rich quick, all right? Now, so this is the mindset. Next is what's the action that I need to take on now? So here I'm going to go through with you a strategic roadmap, right? The actions, how I personally will strategize in this journey towards FIRE. And I break it down into 2 steps. We are going to work backwards. So let's start off with the end point first. That means when you attain FIRE, right? By the time I attain FIRE, what I envision or what I hope to achieve is I want to have a dividend portfolio that is sufficient in size, such that the dividends can generate sufficiently to cover my living expenses. So then question is, then how big a portfolio do we need to be able to achieve that? Now let's just do some very simple and quick math. Let's just assume today I have a $1 million portfolio, okay? And this dividend portfolio drives a 5% dividend yield. So 5% on $1 million, that's about $50,000 a year. Now if I divide by 12, then per month, that's about 4.2K of dividends per month. Now the question to you now is this enough or not? For some people, they say, yes, it's enough already. For some people, they say, no, never enough, right? So this is up to you, your lifestyle by then, and of course, the inflation rate by then as well, all right? So that's something for you to ponder about. But what I want to talk about next is the bigger problem, which is $1 million. How do I amass a big portfolio like this, right? So that's the elephant in the room that we got to address. Let's not talk about those who are fortunate in life, right, to be born in a wealthy family or you have an inheritance. Let's not talk about that. Let's talk about an average, typical individual, okay? So this is where I believe growth investing has to come into the picture to drive higher capital appreciation so that you can build up your portfolio over time before you attain financial independence. But my definition of growth investing is very different from what you might hear outside on YouTube and all that. I want to focus on only the higher quality businesses that are able to drive growth in a sustainable manner. So it's not about, getting your twofold, threefold in 1 or 2 years, but it's not sustainable. That's not what I'm looking for. I want a high quality business that can drive growth sustainably. The financials are actually pretty strong and stable. So it's not about chasing after the highest returns and without caring about the risks that you take on, but rather is to focus on making more, rather better risk-adjusted return. And the way that I do this is I will apply techniques like fundamental analysis. So I will analyze their financials, the competitive advantage. I will also apply methods like technical analysis. I don't anyhow buy at any price. I only want to buy at prices where the risk to reward is more favorable. I will do proper position sizing, portfolio management, what kind of companies make up your portfolio, and so on. So that's the gist of that, all right? Now, and finally, the last message that I want to leave with you guys as I wrap this up is, remember this, right? If you didn't catch any of what I shared before that, it's okay. Just remember this last message, right? The key to financial independence and the freedom to live your life on your own terms is all in your hands. You are the only one who can take charge. So you have to learn how to invest in yourself to create the kind of future that you want and to take the proactive action, right? If you just read but you don't take action, that is not sufficient. It will never happen, all right? So with that, thank you, and I'll pass on to the MC.
Thank you, Hazel. Okay, we hope you enjoyed the first part of Singapore Global Money Week's financial colloquium. Now, let's keep the momentum going as we dive into part 2, practical investment strategies. In this session, we'll explore key investment approaches, including thematic investing, mega trend opportunities, and AI-powered portfolio management. This engaging panel discussion will bring together industry experts who will share real-world insights and actionable strategies to help you navigate today's dynamic financial landscape.
That's right. To guide us through this discussion, we are honored to have a distinguished panel of industry experts. Let's first welcome Mr. Wei from IFAS Singapore, who will provide valuable insights into global investing and also wealth management. As the General Manager of IFAS Global Markets Singapore, Wei leads a team of investment advisors to help clients invest globally and profitably. Previously, he was the Director of Strategic Investments at IFAS, driving acquisitions to enhance the company's fintech ecosystem. As a CFA charter holder and a first-class honours graduate from Nanyang Business School, Wei brings extensive expertise in the investment landscape.
Next, we have Mr. Billy from CGS International, a seasoned expert in financial research and long-term investing. As the Regional Head of Retail Research at CGS International, Billy actively engages with retail investors, providing strategic market insights, and his diverse experience spans asset management, financial journalism, and economic research. Having worked as a senior writer at The Edge, Malaysia, and an economist at RHB, covering Thailand and the Philippines. With a strong belief in the capital market, Billy is passionate about helping investors navigate the financial world.
Moderating today's discussion is Professor Matthew, our esteemed NTU Investment Interactive Club faculty advisor. As the undergraduate assistant dean in the Nanyang Business School, he brings a wealth of knowledge in sustainable finance and alternative investment. Prof. Matthew will be leading today's discussion, posing insightful questions to encourage a lively and enriching conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Wei, Billy, and Professor Matthew.
Do we have? We have 2. Great.
You can hold
Okay.
one, we'll share between ourselves. We can share.
All right, good evening, everybody. Thanks for sticking around. It's a cold, wet day outside, but all sorts of interesting stuff in here. Really delighted to share the stage today with our two panelists, Wei and Billy. You just heard a little bit of their backgrounds, but maybe let's just take a quick moment, maybe share a little bit more about your backgrounds, your journey, and why you care so much about trying to help people learn about investing at an early age. Wei, maybe start with you.
Right, start off first. Yeah. Great to be here after 20 years. So good to see all of you here. And just now, there was a brief introduction. I'm with iFast. So since graduation 2006 until now, about 20 years in the financial industry, almost 17 years with iFast. So in the first 6 years, I was working on the research side, macro analysis, as well as unit trust selection. So that's my job. After that, spent 9 years in Malaysia handling the B2C platform, Fund Supermart, or FSM1 as it is known now. So most of the time, I've been handling end clients, teaching them how to invest by themselves. After that, I spent 2 years on M&A activities for iFast, securing, buying banks and doing other things for iFast. And most recently, I've been working with a team of fantastic advisors, helping investors to invest in a better way. Because I reckon not everyone wants to do it by themselves, and that's where we can work with financial advisors. So that's my journey.
Fantastic, thank you. And I think that point about whether people want to do it themselves or whether they want help from somebody else is something we're going to come back to during our conversation. It was also, I noted, in one of the questions that we received earlier as well. Billy, how about yourself?
Yeah, so I started my career in Malaysia. So I actually started my career at Great Eastern, which I took scholarship with them. So I think one of the reasons why I'm so passionate about investing is because personally I started investing at 19 years old. I used the scholarship money that I gotten from Great Eastern to invest. But before I continue, let's just get to know a bit of the crowd here. How many of you started investing already here? Just to know how many of you are already investing.
Started investing already.
Okay. And is there any one of you that invests in stuff like crypto and all that other than the stock market? Just to see what the risk appetite is with this crowd. All right, cool. All right, so personally, why stock market I think is very important for me in this question, because I think the speakers just now probably don't understand one thing that I can relate to the people that are sitting here is YOLO. You want to live in the moment, and I'm the kind of person that want to live in the moment. So yeah, probably I can't retire that early because of that mindset. But it's also this mindset that has driven me to invest, because money never sleeps, right? And the only thing that can generate return consistently while we are sleeping is the stock market. Why? Because the stock market is not just an asset where prices fluctuate, but it is actually consisted of businesses. So for me, I wanted to get involved in business when I was young, but I don't have the time and I don't have the capital, right? So the next best thing is really into stock market. And that's the belief that I have as I grow up. And being in the industry, right, I actually jumped into journalism for a bit. Part of the reason was because I realized a lot of retail investors don't understand the importance of investing, but chase after the highs and the lows, right? And I think that prompted me to jump into journalism for 2 years, which is a very fulfilling job, by the way, because back then we covered the story of 1MDB. So it was a very, very fulfilling journey for me, but at the end of the day, money speaks, so I still jump back into the industry. But that aside, I think that's why I wanted to be in an industry that reach out to retail investors, because I want you guys to know that investing is not just for the professionals, it's for every people, like, you know, everyone like you and I, you know, on this journey.
Right. Now, I think that's actually a great segue into the first question I wanted to ask you, and it's going back to something that Lawrence shared earlier. This idea that you can actually automate some of the savings and maybe even some of the investing. And so maybe, Billy, you could talk us through a little bit, like some of the tools that are out there if you wanted to automate long-term investing. What does that look like? What are the tools? What are the techniques associated with doing that?
So I think it really depends on what kind of investors you are, right? I think that's the first thing. But if you're someone who's new to investing, and I think there's a question just now whether it's best to start with growth or dividend stocks, right? So the reason why you want to start with dividend counters or blue chip counters are because they provide you that safety platform to build up as you learn about investing. Because once you build your portfolio to a certain level, then you can take on the additional risks, and as your income power becomes better. So one of the way for me to start off is I think there are a lot of tools today. One of it is CGS International. We have our own new platform we call Up that allows you to actually invest into fractional shares in US and Bursa Malaysia. So you can actually set it aside, whether it's $50, $100, and just automate it on a monthly basis. And out in the market, I think there are also a lot of other systems that you can take advantage of. So the idea is really, you want to build up that pool of a portfolio that allows you to eventually explore into other stuff. So for example, I started investing at 19 years old. So when I invest at that time, I invest in counters like Public Bank, Hub Sing, Biscuit Crackers. I'm not sure how many of you know this because it's from Malaysia. So the likes of Nestle, your Nescafe, your Milo. So those staple stuff that allows me to have a certain portfolio to start exploring with it. And back then when I started, I don't recall I have so much online tools. I actually bought this book. It's a green book that has all the company's details about dividend stuff, and I just look into it, PE and everything, but you learn along the way. But today you have so much of that, right? I think one of the easiest ways is really to just allow yourself to start automating some of this investing into the big names. Like I think Hazel mentioned the banks, because let's be honest, if the 3 banks were to fall today, there's a big crisis in the economy, all right? And most likely whatever that you invest in would go down as well.
Now, this is kind of like what they call dollar cost averaging, right?
Yeah, so it's about making it a habit. Like I think at the end of the day, it's about that habit. I think investing, a lot of us know how to invest if you just look at the numbers itself. It's about that habit of yours. And I myself have a very bad habit of spending. So looking at the numbers that Hazel put in just now, I think I'm not going to retire. But so you want to start automating it the first time you get your salary and put it in, right?
Yeah, I think this is one of those great things that probably does show up in your finance class at some point if you get to take one. Like this idea, stocks go up and down, but if you're thinking about things for the long term, if you just buy a little bit every month, then you're averaging in and you are not trying to put the pressure on yourself. I need to buy it at the absolute low price for the year. I guarantee you, if you're trying to do that, you won't buy at the low price for the year. It's really, really hard to do. So there's this kind of self-directed component that's available to people with these tools. You can be dollar cost averaging in yourself, but there are these other options right? We can use other tools. Maybe I'm thinking like robos and things like that. I think if you press, you got it on? There we go.
Yep.
Awesome. Love to hear your perspective on some of these other tools.
Right. So of course, just now what Billy has mentioned, you can pick stocks, you can do fractional, you can do it at a number of places. Of course, with $100, you can also invest on a regular basis in unit trusts that will give you even more exposure, because some of the largest index funds out there, right, on a passive mode, $100, you easily get access to 1,400 stocks within. So if you're worried about losing money, you get exposure to a global equity fund. You need 1,400 companies to go to zero before you have your $100 become zero, right? So it's quite impossible. So back to DIY, there are different modes of investments. There are DIY. I'm sure a lot of you are excited about doing it on your own. But like I said earlier on, now I'm working with advisors. We help people who are not really doing on their own. And these people typically falls at the age of 30 plus, 40s, where their wealth are a lot larger, and they find that they don't have time to manage it by themselves. So that's how they work with advisors. And where we have in between was just now, one of the audience mentioned about Money Hour, right? So for those who know about Money Hour, yes, it has resurfaced. It has closed its business model early on. It's a robo-advisors. So it's a hybrid between doing it yourself and engaging an advisor. So it's not as expensive as engaging an advisor, but it's not totally doing it yourself, because you pick a portfolio and they will do it for you. Okay, so for such kind of robo-advisors, we have plenty of choices in Singapore as well. Money Hour It was a social enterprise, right? It's by income. They try to do good for the clients. They have been absorbing a lot of the cost for their investors. And why do iFast know about it? Because we are the platform supporting them. And when they close, we took over all their clients, and what they request from us is for us to keep the charges as low as possible. So we are still doing it, we're still keeping it alive. The clients' assets are still safe with us. And in fact, over the past year, those robo-advisors, their strategies did quite well also. They delivered quite good returns. So you have on the spectrum, one spectrum, do it yourself. If you don't have time, you can work with advisor, and there are people who choose in between robo-advisors. And my point of view is that, it's not mutually exclusive. Please feel free to use all of them, right? Especially with advisors, if they are willing to take your small portion of money, you can learn from them as you go along, and you can do it yourself, with partial of your money. That's how I see it.
So then, if we're thinking about that spectrum of ways that we can do it ourselves, all the way to asking somebody else to be our advisor, I mean, is this available when you're talking about all sorts of different products? Because you mentioned stocks before, but that's not the only thing that you can invest in. We've got stocks, unit trusts, all sorts of different things. Maybe walk through some of the different products that people might be thinking about for this part of their investing journey.
Right. So when it comes to the range of products, it has increased over the years. So on the very simple side, you have your stocks. That's quite easy to understand. You have your direct bonds, which is not so accessible to normal investors because most of the corporate bonds trades in the size of 200,000 Sing dollar and above. So those are for high net worth clients. So stocks and bonds, you can buy them, also get exposure to them via unit trust, or you can own them directly. You have alternatives, and of course you have cryptos. So various platforms, they are able to provide a wide range of it. For example, our own iFast platform, we can provide all of them. And if you work with advisors, they also give you advice on the entire suite of products. So all these products can be used to form a portfolio. So the key difference is really they will understand you a bit more, and then they'll give advice how to best form the portfolio. And of course, to be frank, not all advisors will consistently make you money because the markets will play a part. How you handle your emotion towards the investment will also play a part because there are times things really go very bad and you cannot withstand it. You pull out exactly at the wrong times. We have been around, iFast have been around for more than 20 years. The time that I saw the most outflow was first quarter of 2009. The heaviest inflow came before that, around 2007 October period. People know that we should buy at the bottom and sell at the top, right? What happens is it's always the other way around. People will buy right at the top and then they will sell at the bottom. So even you have advisors, they can help you to a certain extent, but it's not totally foolproof. And the other part about working with advisors is not just the investment products. It's also, when you, at some point of time, you are going to get married, you may get your first car, you may get your first house. This is where the advisors will provide their values in terms of financial planning, which is very important, and it is very hard to do it on your own.
Now, thank you. This advice to think about seeking advice, I think, is very important, but it's also going to be part of somebody's individual journey, figuring out where do I think I want to go, because as Hazel was saying, you have to take control of your own financial journey. And one of the things I often hear people talking about are these big trends. AI, I need to be able to figure out how to capture AI, or I teach sustainable finance, so it's all about sustainability and carbon credits and this and that. The truth is that though we do exist as consumers and people in the world, we are exposed to these things, right, Billy? I mean, how do you think about themes, trends? Like, where does this fit into someone's investment journey?
So I think there's two parts of it. The first part of it is your individual journey. I guess when you talk about thematics, it's always looking at your own lifestyle, how you shift from in the past to today, right? You can see how trends are changing. For example, how the smartphone industry, how you're using it differently. So I'm pretty sure, I can't be 100% sure that most of the students here are using the current ChatGPT to help them with some of the write-up, right? All right. Personally, I use the ChatGPT to help me to summarize a lot of the market news on a daily basis, right? Because there's just so much to look into. But these are some of the trends that you can see that is changing, and I think these trends are here to stay. So, for example, I think I like what Hazel started earlier. She's talked about building that, choosing companies, quality companies, and this is where it comes in, right? So, for example, I miss out on NVIDIA. I'll be very honest. I miss out on NVIDIA when it fly up. I'm not sure how many people managed to catch it before it flies significantly. But one of the things that I managed to catch on is companies like Microsoft before they recover. So this is just a real example story for you guys to know. So when I look at a company, I will look at the management in terms of how they move along with trends. So back then, AI was not a thing, but cloud was starting to gain traction. And Microsoft changed the CEO from a business person to their cloud engineer, which is Nadella today. And when it talks about the cloud direction, it shows someone who understands the technical difficulty and challenges, as well as the direction to allow mass adoption. And this is where, whenever I look at companies and trends, I look at it together, like whether these companies, the management are capable to really tap on what's coming up, right? So, of course, for artificial intelligence, I missed that because I had no idea how the hell it works. Okay, but there are things like, for example, digital commerce. I think those things are here to stay, partly because the population is becoming more dense. So, for example, when I come to Singapore, I don't go out to shop anymore because I realize it's too difficult to shop in a shopping mall because the crowd is too dense. So it's actually easier to buy online, and it's getting faster, the delivery time. And these are trends that are coming here to stay, right? And of course, your digital payment as well. So the likes of Visa, MasterCard, PayPal, those are going to be one of the leading change in the digital payments. Of course, your blockchain is another area. But honestly, I don't dare to recommend blockchain because I don't understand the technicalities of it, right? But so these are some of the trends that you can see. And I would say that you can't just look at the trend that this is going up and then you want to just buy. So one terrible example that I can give you is post-COVID, just right, actually it's during COVID. Top glove or the glove companies in Malaysia shot up, surged, right? So this is a bad example for myself. So initially, I never wanted to buy, but FOMO, right? So eventually, you wanted to get involved in it, and everyone was talking about the trend, how these things are here to sustain. But if you really look at trends and you look at adoption, you don't just look at one single event. You look at how it is affecting your daily lives, whether this is changing your behavior, and I think a lot of this is reflected. So I don't believe in saving everything. I believe in experiencing stuff, partly because if I want to invest in something, I want to experience that something first. So why do I invest in Apple? Because I buy an Apple iPhone, right? So if I want to buy something, I'll probably make sure that I invest in that company before I buy that something.
Okay, so now I'm gonna get all kind of finance professor on you for a second, because what you're describing is a process where we as individuals might see and experience something and be like, I need to own that because I've used it and I understand it. That sounds to me like trying to use our individual experience to beat the market. And one of the things that we know in finance is the market's pretty efficient. So it's pretty hard to beat the market. So how would you think about this balance between what I guess they call active investing, I'm trying to outperform the market, and maybe just I want some exposure to the market and maybe using some of the available digital tools that might help us do that?
Yeah, so I think at the start of it, you talk about dollar cost averaging. So the idea is very simple, right? You want to continue to invest on a regular basis in companies that you know is good, right? That's one of it. This is from an individual perspective, right? So most likely someone who is a more passive investor. I think you cannot really compare yourself as an active investor like the fund managers, for example. Part of the reason is because the fund managers have a certain funds that come in every single month or every single quarter. So they need to invest on a very regular basis, right? So they have the money to invest. I'm pretty sure the amount that we have in our personal capacity will be very different from how fund managers work. So we cannot really play like how they do. So it's always easy for them to cut certain losses, right? when it doesn't work for them, and then they just move on with it. So for you to capture that thematics and trend for active investors, I think it's very different from passive investors. For passive, it's really, even if you're trying to catch that trend, like I said, don't chase after it. You diversify along the way as you build a portfolio. Start with the companies that you know that are familiar, that have strong names, like your banks, like your Sheng Siong, all these very stable names. When your portfolio is big enough, you can explore, right?
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, please go. And then I got a follow on for you, but keep going.
Yeah, but I guess it's also appropriate to touch a little bit about the investment. Billy is very passionate about the various stocks. I also just like to highlight there are many ways to invest, aside from individual stocks selection. And I'm sure in your course of studies, you've learned about all this intrinsic valuation if you're in a financial modeling class, or you learn to be very expert at using the Excel. I attended the classes also. It didn't help me in my first few years of investments. My entire portfolio changed. Now it's a bit, I recognize I do not have a talent for picking stocks. So I've given it up. If I look at my portfolios right now, I can tell you quite clearly what I invest in. I have 6 unit trusts. I have 5 ETFs. I have 2 stocks. Those are the only things that I know and I invest in, right? And when I talk about the way I look at companies on my portfolio, it's not like how much in growth stocks, how much in defensive stocks or dividend stocks. The way I look at it is how much in global equities, how much in the financial sectors, how much in the healthcare sectors, and I like a little bit on semiconductor recently, house call, a little bit of China, and a little bit of Japan. This is how I look at the investment. The investment world is, my universe is the entire world. So it's not limited to just Singapore stocks or S&P 500 stocks or Bursa stocks, etc. So maybe just appropriate to highlight different ways of investment.
Yeah, there's no one right answer. And again, let's go back to it. You are in control of your investing journey, but you're describing a diversified portfolio in a way that makes sense to you, just as Billy's talking about finding some things that necessarily aren't going to always overlap. There will be diversification there as well. You're going to build a portfolio from a different perspective. Okay, so as we get close to wrapping up here, I have one last question for each of you. I guess, Wei, I'm going to ask you this one first. We've talked a lot about some of these different platforms that are out there as concepts like a robo-advisor or these different things that we can use. Are they safe?
Yeah, this is a very good question. I definitely like to share with all the fresh investors out here. We have a lot of excitement chasing after the best stock, best investment product, even sometimes taking a look at cryptocurrency. But it's always very important to check the platform when you are investing with, right? Don't just check it out or use it because it is the cheapest. Make sure it is licensed in Singapore. Otherwise, if you lose money on it, nobody is going to help you. MAS cannot help you. Okay? So thankfully, a lot of the platforms in Singapore, they are licensed. So if they are licensed, you can still use them rather safe in the sense that, if something happens to them, there will be other platforms that will be able to take over them, just like iFast taking over Money Hours clients' assets, right? But the other thing I would like to highlight also, as you use various new platforms, some of them throw in very exciting freebies and gifts to entice you to open an account. In business sense, there is a business strategy. They want to attract in all the clients first, right, with all these goodies, before they start to monetize the clients. So the platforms that you invest in may also be safe in the sense that they are licensed. But if you are really serious about it, you're going to put a lot of money, make sure you also check whether the platform is profitable on its own. You don't want to start investing a lot of money and go through a lot of hassle when it closes down, right? So those are the things I would like to highlight.
Very good advice. Okay, so on to I'm fishing for the last, what I think is going to be a really good piece of advice here, Billy. I have 2 words for you. FOMO. Okay, so obviously there's a ton of noise out there, especially if you're in, financial TikTok and like all this stuff. I mean, influencers, forget the mainstream media and all of that. There's a lot of noise. What would you tell our audience about how they need to take control of their own psychology and avoid making some, I think, common mistakes?
I think, but before I go to that question, I just want to say something about that. Good things never come cheap, yeah? So if you find that the platform is too cheap, probably it's not that good. Sorry, just on a lighter note, sorry. Okay, FOMO, I think it's something that you experience as you invest. That's definitely true. I'm sure you will agree. If you've been investing, you know that you cannot run away from that, right? The breaking news, the headlines that come out today, market, crash, or the Tesla lost 20, 30%, that sort of headline will make you panic, right? So, but I think if you look at what we started off this whole conversation, and I started off by talking about the stock market, which I invest mostly in. Of course, there's other securities like your funds and all that, right? But at the end of the day, the idea is this, because you are investing in certain businesses, and as long as that businesses is going to do well, you don't have to worry about the noise. So I'll just give you an example. Today, if you were to run a business, right, and then someone were to tell you, hey, I'm going to offer you 50,000 to buy a business. But if you know your business is worth 100,000, you will not be worried about the prices at 50,000. You will just ignore the buyer, right? The person that come to you, you just ignore him because he's talking nonsense. Because you know the value of your business. And it's the same when investing. You need to know what you're investing in. You need to know the value that you're investing in, because then you won't be affected by the up and down. So I'll just give you an example. During the global financial crisis, I think the GFC period, 2009, 2008 period, a lot of people were very afraid of the Singapore REITs in the aftermath of it, because the cost of borrowing is gone up. It's difficult to get borrowing. So the nature of the REIT business is to borrow and to invest into asset. So a lot of people were very worried about that. Yes, the Singapore REITs had a sharp, I think 20%, close to that level of drop for a bit, but it recovers subsequently. And I think this is what it comes to when you're investing, right? Know the value of the things that you invest in, right? And so I always ask myself this, why am I investing in this company? Is it because of the management? Is it because of the track record? Is it because of the trends? And as long as these things remain the same, don't worry about the noise in the market, right? So for example, today Trump talked about tariffs and all that. I mean, yes, that will move market, but eventually it will adjust. So even people talk about nuclear war, right? If there is indeed a nuclear war, the stock market that were to crash, what's going to happen to the rest of the asset classes? Do you think they're going to stay high at a certain value? No, the rest of the market will just tank at the same time. So look beyond what's in the noise currently, and then, so which go back to what we talk about. Start investing, automate your investment, Why, for example, why CGS we talk about fractional shares is so that people can actually invest in a more affordable manner in a selection of certain stocks. So we do provide thematics and some of those stuff that can allow investors to invest in this pool of stocks that they want without owning the entire, just if you want to buy Berkshire, most likely most people will not be able to buy a single share in this room, right? But by allowing yourself to buy fractional, you can actually invest into some of this. So make it a habit, invest it on whether it's a quarterly basis or a half-yearly basis. So personally, I look at my portfolio on a half-yearly basis because I don't want to be looking at it on a daily basis, because you will be very panicked if you look at it.
When I worked at Goldman Sachs, one of the leading high net worth wealth advisors gave us this story. He said, my clients would go away for the summer. I would call them and say, hey, this is the value of your portfolio. Have a great summer. They would come back and he would call them and say, hey, this is the value of your portfolio. If there was a sell-off in the middle, they wouldn't know, because they didn't have to look at it every day. And I think a lot of that mindset can be very helpful when thinking about things for the long term, as you just said. Guys, this has been a great discussion. I think we have a few minutes for some questions from the audience. If anybody has a question, maybe, or how are we doing on time? I think we're probably over. Do we have any questions from the audience? I'm going to just take control.
Can I ask a question, Prof?
Any last? No, I think that was, I think we kind of hit it. We're good? All right, let's give a round of applause to Wei Yi and Billy. Thank you.
What an incredible discussion we've had today. A huge thank you to Wei Yi, Billy, and Professor Matthew for their invaluable insights. From understanding financial fundamentals to real-world investment strategies and megatrends, we've gained so much practical knowledge that will undoubtedly shape our financial journeys. Now, we would like to invite all our esteemed speakers to the stage to receive a token of appreciation for their contributions. Professor Matthew, we would appreciate it if you could help us in presenting the tokens of appreciation to our speakers. Please give them a round of applause. Let's do... Yeah, Ken?
Let's show our appreciation with a big round of applause as we invite our distinguished speakers to the stage. First of all, we have Miss Hazel from the Joyful Investors. Next, let's welcome Mr. Lawrence from the Institute for Financial Literacy. Following that, we have Mr. Wei Yi from IFAS Global Markets. And finally, let's welcome Mr. Billy from CGS International. Let's give them all another well-deserved round of applause. And of course, a special thank you to Prof. Matthew for moderating the session.
Before we move on, let's take a moment to capture this special occasion. Let's all gather closer to this side, to the right-hand side of the theater. So from the left-hand side, people, please all move towards the right-hand side. Rob, to my right-hand side, your left-hand side. Please, thank you. Alright, so for the participants on the left-hand side here, you all can proceed up to the upper place there. Thank you. Okay, so let's get ready for the photo and Okay, please be seated, and we will be taking the photo in 3. We do a formal one first, okay? So just smile. We'll take the photo in 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Okay, so another fun shot, okay? So any poses you want, just a fun shot, okay? Okay, everyone thought of their own smart poses, a fun pose already? Okay, so we'll be taking a picture in 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. 3, 2, 1. Okay, everyone stay in place first. We are going to be recording a video, okay? So right now I'll be doing a trial run with everyone. So later, what we'll be saying is Singapore Global Money Week 2025, okay? So we'll do one trial run first, okay? We will say Singapore Global Money Week 2025. Everyone go together, okay? One trial run, huh? Okay, so we'll do in 3, 2, 1. Singapore Global Money Week 2025. Okay, so I'm gonna do it slow and steady, okay? Slow and steady, guys. Wait, phone ready? Okay? Okay, we'll do it in 3, 2, 1. Singapore Global Money Week 2025. Woo! Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Satu. All right. As we come to the grand closing of Singapore Global Money Week 2025, let's take a moment to reflect on the incredible journey we've had over the past 2 days. From engaging interactive booths, thrilling financial literacy quiz challenge, to the thought-provoking financial colloquium. It has been truly an enriching experience.
At Singapore Global Money Week 2025, we believe that financial literacy is for everyone, not just business or finance students. That is why we've designed this event to be engaging, interactive, and rewarding, ensuring that more students across NTU and even students from other tertiary institutions can gain valuable financial knowledge in a fun and accessible way. To take us through the journey and share the key highlights of this event, let's put our hands together to welcome our Singapore Global Money Week 2025 Chairperson, Ziyan. So, good evening, everyone. What an incredible journey these past 2 days have been at Singapore Global Money Week 2025. First and foremost, thank you for being part of this meaningful financial literacy movement. This year, we didn't just participate in a global initiative. We built something from ground up. When we first envisioned bringing Singapore Global Money Week to life, there was no roadmap, no blueprint. It was just a bold idea and a deep belief in the importance of financial literacy. This event started as a vision to create a platform that empower young individuals with financial knowledge and to make financial learning fun and engaging for students from any background. And today, standing here, I'm proud to say we made it happen. Bringing an idea to life is never easy. It takes dedication, teamwork, and relentless problem solving. Planning this first ever event with multiple main branches under Singapore Global Money Week meant starting from scratch, researching, refining, and continuously improving every detail. This event marks an amazing milestone for IIC, and we have proven that with dedication, anything is possible. Let's take a moment to celebrate the incredible milestones we achieved together. Over the past 2 days, we featured 24 diverse booths, 10 internal booths, 6 collaboration booths, and 8 sponsored and partner booths. These booths transform financial concepts into engaging experiences, proving that learning about money can be practical, interactive, and even fun. We are proud to share that over 1,200 participants joined us for the booth activities over the past 2 days, and the response have been overwhelmingly positive. It's been incredible to see the enthusiasm and interest from everyone. Also, yesterday, we hosted a financial literacy quiz challenge. We welcomed 100 participants in our paper-based quiz, designed to let them test their financial knowledge at their own pace. The quiz covers beginner, intermediate, and advanced levels, encouraging participants to reflect on their financial understanding and recognize areas for growth. Next, we hosted an interactive personal budgeting bingo giveaway this afternoon at AIA Canopy. Participants learn practical budgeting strategy while competing to complete their bingo cards, reinforcing key financial habits such as tracking expenses, prioritizing savings, and making informed spending choices. Aligning with our Global Money Week theme this year, think before you follow, wise money tomorrow. Throughout the event, we shared 50 actionable money saving tips, offering students practical ways to optimize their spending and to build healthier financial habits. Next, we held a ribbon cutting ceremony, making the inaugural launch of Singapore Global Money Week as a large-scale financial awareness campaign in NTU. This ceremony symbolized our commitment to fostering financial literacy and empowering youth to make control of their financial futures. It was a proud moment as we set the foundation for what we hope will become an annual tradition of impact financial education. And lastly, just 20 minutes ago, we wrap up an insightful session featuring 4 esteemed speakers on the topic Investing Insights for Young Investors in the Digital Age. Now, no vision becomes reality without people who believe in it. A heartfelt thank you to Dr. Sajid for believing in us from day one and helping to turn this vision into a reality. A special thank you to Professor Matthew for your unwavering guidance and feedback throughout the journey. To our sponsors, thank you for believing in this vision and helping in bringing it to life. Your support has allowed us to reach and impact so many students. To the club and partners who joined us, your collaboration amplified our impact and brought diverse perspectives into this initiative. To every participant and supporter here today, thank you for your enthusiasm, engagement, and trust. You are the reason Singapore Global Money Week exists, and your support has been invaluable. A huge thank you to Kevin, IIC Students Advisor, and Yong An, IIC Vice President, for your incredible support and guidance throughout the journey. Thank you to the 63 student facilitators who has signed up and helped us manage this large-scale event. Your dedication and support ensure everything ran smoothly, and we couldn't have done it without you. And last but most importantly, to my Vice Chairperson, Colloquium, and my 25 dedicated committee members, your hard work, commitment has made this event possible. Thank you for your creativity and dedication in bringing this first ever vision to life. As we close this year's Singapore Global Money Week event, we hope that each of you leave not just with knowledge, but also with a confidence to make financial decisions for a better tomorrow. Now, financial literacy is a lifelong journey, and today is just the beginning. Let's continue to think critically, plan wisely, and take charge of your financial futures. Until next time, stay financially savvy, and we look forward to seeing you again at Singapore Global Money Week 2026. Thank you and have a great evening.
Thank you, Ziyan, for that wonderful recap and speech. An event of this scale wouldn't have been possible without the unwavering support and guidance of those who have stood behind us every step of the way. Among them is distinguished figure whose encouragement has been invaluable to our journey. Our guest of honor, Dr. Sajid, board advisor and industry advisor of NTU IIC. His support has played a crucial role in making Singapore Global Money Week 2025 a success. And we are truly grateful for his contributions. Now, let's give a warm welcome to Dr. Sajid as he delivers his closing address.
Thank you for the gracious introduction. I just want to start by saying what an incredible moment this is in NTU today, because this is the first ever Singapore Global Money Week, and it happens to be in NTU, right? So really, I would like to share with all of you, we are making a little bit of a history. It may not occur to you now, but when this becomes a memory, that moment will be precious, right? Where we started today. The second thing I want to say, and this is really the biggest part of my speech, is to give the loudest ever applause to a few people who made this happen. And I want to just share their names, and if you can just wave, that would be great. Of course, the Madam Chair of our Singapore Global Money Week 2025, Ziyan, thank you so much. Can you just wave? Keller, Vice Chairperson, and Prof. Matt, I would say, you and Kevin, everything surrounds around you. So thanks to Kevin and Yong An for always being there to support, and the entire NTU Investment Interactive Club team, every one of them who put this passion, commitment, and the belief in financial education for everyone, right? I've got three things I want to share, and I know food is out there. So what I thought maybe is, I'll do three things in the quickest possible time. It's also about food, an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert, all in less than 10 minutes. Prof. NG always reminds me, how is it possible that I have a speech for every moment that is different? And yes, I do have something to share, which I have not shared before. And coming back to my alma mater today is it's very precious for me. This is my playground. This is where I grew up as a student. So my appetizers, this is what I'm going to do. I want all of you to take a moment just to close your eyes and imagine a question. And this question was posed to me by my daughter. I've got twin daughters. They are not here today, but they were here for the National Cash Flow Competition. They said to me, Papa, why do cars have brakes? It set me thinking, why do cars... When someone were to ask you a question, why do cars have brakes? You can open your eyes. Anyone to give me the answer? How would you respond? One word. You want to say something? Quick. Oh, okay. Keep you safe. Very good. Any more? Quick. Food is waiting out there. To stop. Safe. Stop. What else? Control. Very good. Anything else? Anything else? In the people in the front? Slow down now. So, the answers you usually get will be to slow down, to stop, and be safe at all times. I'd just like to share with you, my appetizer is about brakes and financial literacy. I want to connect the two. I told my daughter, the reason why cars have brakes is because if they didn't have brakes, Papa will not be driving this car because I know I cannot slow down, stop, and be safe. But I'm trying to get to your school as quickly as possible so that you're not late. And I have confidence that I can drive my car faster because my car can slow down, stop, and be safe at all times because I know the brakes work. Now, how does it matter to financial literacy? I would like to share with you three things. The very first thing is about saving. Start with savings. Savings is making sure that you have breaks in your life, right? Breaks in your life. So it will ensure that you are able to navigate this changing world safely. You are able to seize opportunities when they are available. You are also able to take some risks because you know you got some financial backup. The second thing I would say to you is you can also use the brakes to accelerate. And what I mean by that is accelerate with purpose, not blindly, purpose. So when you accelerate with purpose, you need to make sure that the brakes work. You got enough. And the third thing I would like to say is budgeting and financial planning. You cannot just ignore the brakes in your car. You need to make sure you service them regularly. What do I mean by service them regularly? Make sure you look at your budget, look at your financial plans, and make sure that you have sufficient capital for tomorrow. Right? Three things. Savings, accelerate with purpose, and which is invest. Invest, so you can accelerate with purpose. The third, I've got a booming voice, but I think I may have just use my booming voice. Okay, yeah, thank you. All right, so that's main cause for today, and I wanted to say that actually life is all about breaks and financial knowledge. Acquire them, use it. Next thing I would like to say is, if you think about your first paycheck, what are you going to do with your first paycheck? My topic for main course is financial literacy in a digital world. Just look around the world today, you'll find that we have about 2.6 billion handphones, a changing world. We have 9 times more data in the last 2 years than before. So you are now overwhelmed with data and information rather than to find the information that makes sense to you and you can apply it in your life, right? That's the world we live in today. And you can structure the data as well to make sure that it's useful. What I want to say to you is that you've got to be careful of 3 things. Social media. Social media will have lots of influencers as well. And you'll be bombarded all the time with social media influencers that say, buy this, buy that, do this. Look at my journey. Be careful. The second thing I'll say to you in my main course is TikToks will also have virals that go around that will tell you, get rich scheme. Tomorrow you have $10,000 in your pocket from 0 to 10,000. All those get rich scheme. Too good to be true, right? And then the last thing you must think about is crypto, bitcoins and all that. Yes, you can take risks because the rewards are good, but only take measured risks. Understand it first before you put your feet into the crypto world, Bitcoin world, and know nothing about it just because someone told you to step into it, right? So learn about it. I'm not saying avoid it. If you want to get into that world, understand it before you sink yourself into it, right? The last thing I want to say, we have choices. That's the beauty of life. The choice you make today is going to make an impact in not only your lives, but your loved one's life as well. So what can we do? I'll share with you the secret sauce of life. Very easy. Secret sauce of life never changes. I'm just speaking as I stand here, Prof. You're looking at me and wondering where I get this energy from. It's 6:30. I'm alive. The very first thing I would say, not difficult, learn continuously. Learn continuously. There is no such thing as I've learned enough. It's a journey. Never stop learning. The second thing is start early. And everyone says, start now. Actually, the best time to start, you know when? Yesterday. But you can't. If you haven't started, start now. Start early. And lastly, I think you can also share your knowledge with others, what you gain, be truthful, and share with others, because we all work as a team and no one succeeds in their life alone. Share with others. And this is where the club comes in. This is an opportunity for you to acquire financial knowledge. The university is a lemon tree, lots of lemons, make a lemonade out of it. True. It's got lots of opportunity. Every lemon is an opportunity, and squeeze it and make it a lemonade. All right? And I want to end off by saying to you that I'm really very, very delighted to come and spend this evening with all of you, because it means a lot to me to see young people be the future leaders of tomorrow. It means a lot to me. It's been my purpose of life. And when I see, like I'm looking around and I see all of you are listening actively, it tells me something. I must have said something that resonated with all of you. And I really appreciate you having a sparkle in your eye and a smile on your face, because at this hour, when we come to the end of today's, this is a closing speech, after that got dinner, I want you all to remember one thing. Please help to share this event with others in the university and beyond, because you will be helping someone else, and there's nothing more important in life than to help a friend to have a better life. And there's nothing better than that. So please help us share with others about NTU Investment Interactive Club. Help us share the different programs we have. We have Singapore Financial Conference, we have National Cash Flow Competition, we have Alternative Investment Symposium. I know all of it now. And now, this year is a special year. We have the Singapore Global Money Week. And what we want you to do in this Singapore Global Money Week, remember the theme. The theme is be critical thinkers, not blind followers. Be critical thinkers. And be critical thinkers is, go back to the theme there, it says, think before you follow, wise money tomorrow. Thank you very much for having me here. Thanks. Oh. Sorry, I was going to take it back to the seat.
Thank you, Dr. Sajid, for your inspiring words and for your steadfast support for Singapore Global Money Week 2025.